I don't know. These are questions that we should be asking. But what I do know is these things are all an obvious insult to our intelligence, and we should be just a little bit pissed off about that. I've been getting the feeling here lately that we are being taken for a sucker. That's what I think. I really feel like here lately our intelligence is being insulted. It appears to me that in this world of pushing narratives, that they seem to have gotten very sloppy here as of late. And I'm not sure exactly what to make of that. But what I do know is it is an absolute insult to our intelligence. And I'd like to give you a few examples of this because, I mean, it is blatantly obvious to me. And it seems like it's been more prominent here as of lately. And it just seems that, like, with each unfolding event of our time, it comes with an even less realistic narrative behind it that almost, like I said, insults your intelligence. The fact that they would even consider that you would believe some of these things is an absolute insult to our intelligence. And I don't know if it's because you got to wonder, like, why, right? Because, I mean, they absolutely have the means to make these type of things very squeaky clean. Financially, it's not an issue. They have the cream of the crop working for them within their 3-letter agencies, highly trained in these manipulative tactics. So what is it that's causing this sloppiness of narratives? Because, I mean, they are like very sloppy here anymore. Where before it seemed like they were pretty tidy, like you had to really do some digging and you had to be pretty uh pretty keen in your research and in the way that you viewed certain things that were happening to be able to spot the inconsistencies and, the problems with the narratives. But not anymore. From my view, it seems like it's almost like they're putting it out for a reason, like intentionally, like they're intentionally putting it out sloppy to see whether, I don't know, I'm not sure what to make of it, whether it's to then data collect who is actually awake and paying attention and talking about it versus who is still asleep and not, and sheeple headed for the slaughter. I don't know, is that it? Could be. Or is it to try and gauge where they are at, in their efforts, how many people are believing it, how many people aren't, where are we at with our tactics here? Do we need to, you know, do these things better? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what to make of it, but it could be all of these type of reasons here why things appear to be much more sloppy these days. It could be intentional. I find it hard to believe that it wouldn't be, honestly, because, like I said, everything's at their disposal to make these things very squeaky clean and almost undetectable if they wanted them to be that way. I mean, this is what they specialize in, right? And they've been in control of the narratives for so long, and they've been playing this game for so long that typically with experience, you only become better at these things, not worse, right? So you would think that it would become even harder and harder to detect as time goes on, but that's not what we're seeing. Instead, we're seeing sloppiness. We're seeing sloppiness, and in some cases, just outright, uh, just absurdities in a lot of cases that are a complete insult to your intelligence. And so let's just talk about a few of the more recent ones here that come to mind. And the first being the Charlie Kirk assassination. Because I think within that event, there is a remarkable opportunity for truth seekers and truth tellers to seize that opportunity and to wake up other people, because it was such a blatantly obvious, ridiculous narrative from the beginning that for anybody to just take that and run with it and to believe that as fact or truth, you got to be insane. I mean, the entire thing from top to bottom is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not going to get into it all here. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, go look around a little bit. There are so many breakdowns of this online. People just absolutely destroying the narrative. And it's so easy to do because it was done that bad. It was that bad. Absolutely butchered the narrative on that one. Almost as if they were like just designing it as they went. I don't even know. It was so bad. Never seen one quite like that. It was really bad. And it did present the opportunity to wake a lot of people up because it was clearly lies. And so, yeah, you got to question, like, what's up with that? Like, they could have definitely handled that differently, and they could have done it in a way where no one would have known. You're always going to have the people questioning things and not believing the official narrative just because of the nature of the beast, right? And they did that to themselves throughout time to create this confusion and this distrust amongst the public. And so you're always going to have that. But I mean, on the scale that it is here today, I mean, no one, as far as I know, believes that official narrative unless you are still a boomer who still watches, the nightly news on your television. Everybody else sees it for what it is, lies, and knows that clearly we were not told the truth. Something else was going on there. So, like, why the sloppiness? I don't know. I think it's an important question that we should be asking, though, and we should be looking for the answers to that. And they might not be so sloppy and as easy to find. Because it could be, like I said in the beginning, a lot of different things, but definitely sloppy. And I feel like even, a lot of these things are that way now. Like, even the attempt on Trump was that way, right? I mean, just very sloppy. Like, oh, the guy's like right out there on an open roof. You're not gonna, same kind of situation as the Kirk thing. I mean, typically in a security detail for something that's high impact and a high chance of something happening, you're gonna have very detailed and very stringent security efforts in place. And of all places, the roofs that are right out in front of you are going to be highly secure, but they weren't. And then all the stories that unfolded after the fact, just absolute ridiculousness, Same with that, that attempt. It was the same way. A lot of ridiculous stuff in that narrative, but that was under a different administration. And you could have easily thought, well, they were just trying to kill Trump and it was the Dems and all this stuff. But listen, these are two sides to the same coin here. Two wings of the same bird, whatever you want to call it. It has nothing to do with that. It has more to do with, the control of information. And that's the part we need to understand. Like, why is it so sloppy? And then, like, the release of these files here recently. I mean, they released the files, they redact all this information, and they leave the victims' names out of all things. And then like they put that out there and expect like what do you think's going to happen when you release that information, especially the contents which was found within them files? Sloppy, very sloppy, you know, and I think that that was intentional. In one way or another, them coming out and that information being realized by the public was intentional in one way or another by some party. It was definitely intentional. They wanted you to see it. Why? So why all this sloppiness? Like, what is it? What's going on? Is it to show that we are powerless because they can release something like those files and then, like, you know, here we are a month later and just new things come up and new things happen, and then that story gets buried and it's gone for the most part, you know? No one's really talking about it anymore. And so is that what they're gauging to see how quick we move on from these even things such as that? I don't know. These are questions that we should be asking. But what I do know is these things are all an obvious insult to our intelligence, and we should be just a little bit pissed off about that. So yeah, anyway, just something I wanted to bring up. Thought I'd throw it out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And as always, sorry about your toes if we stepped on them. Bumpers out.